Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the first matchup, and welcome to the new OSL StarCraft season. This is the first matchup of the OSL. It would actually technically be the on-game net duel tournament because the OSL traditionally only starts at the 16-man stage, but I think that on-game net have decided to take a leaf out of MBC's book and decided to call this the OSL Round 1, probably to hype it up and increase the viewership of it and to give it a little bit more legitimacy in the tournament. So typically this used to be a qualification tournament leading up into the actual tournament, and in my view it still is a little bit of that, but nevertheless, what an exciting matchup. We've got Casey versus Jaedong, and this is probably one of the most anticipated StarCraft matchups that's been put together in a while. Casey, obviously the fabled Neo Emperor, was supposed to be the Emperor taking over Boxer's reign. When he won that OSL, everyone thought he would be, but then he just seemed to fade away. Perhaps his success came to him too much too soon, and it went to his head, and he lost his concentration or his motivation, but he just couldn't do it again after that, and really faded from the scene, and has failed to produce consistently for some time now. But more recently, he has excited us with some stunning play, including that famous nuke rush in one of his recent games. This is an interesting map because it has got only 2 spawn locations, so the players know where each other are, and Casey's positioned SCV down at the south of the map, and it looks like he might be trying something. And Casey's building a proxy racks here, so Casey might be trying some sort of a rush here versus Jaedong, and Jaedong has not yet put the spawning pool, and Jaedong might be going for a 12 hatch build here, and he might really regret this. One of the features of this map is that the natural for the Zerg player has no gas, and that is something that would not favor the Zerg player in the later game, and it would make it more difficult for the Zerg player to set up. So Jaedong might find himself in a little bit of trouble here. He might find himself, especially since it looks like he might have gone for the 12 hatch build, and please, he has gone for the 12 hatch build. No spawning pool for Jaedong. He's going to be in huge trouble against this, especially if he doesn't scout this, and that drone has gone past towards the northern edge along the cliff wall and has missed that rack, so that rack's perfectly positioned by Casey to get it as close to possible, as close to Jaedong's base as possible without giving him a hint of where he's going to be, and this is going to spell huge trouble for Jaedong. Jaedong now starting that spawning pool. Thank God he didn't put the 3rd hatchery down first. He's put that spawning pool down, but that Rax is already complete. The SCV is going to be coming in now. He's already mining gas. I'm not sure why he would be mining gas. I would have thought he would have gone for a second barracks earlier rather than getting that gas down. Jaedong has been able to get that drone into Casey's base. He needs to get in there and scout and see that the gas is up and that there's no barracks there, because that will give him the information he needs to know that there's going to be a rush coming, and maybe he'll be able to at least get a creep colony down and morph it to Sunken as soon as the spawning pool is complete. So Jaedong has now got a decent scout off in Casey's base. He's got to see that the barracks isn't there. Casey, unfortunately, and now Jaedong's going to see the Marines with the overlords. The Marines firing on the overlords, trying to reduce Jaedong's supply count and make it more difficult for Jaedong. And Jaedong just might be able to survive this rush. Jaedong pulling his drones out. The bunker is almost half complete for Casey. Jaedong bringing out about 6 drones. There's only two Marines there for the moment, so that's not really enough. He's going to be forced to pull those Marines. He's pulling those Marines up the ramp. Jaedong already loses one of his drones. The 3rd Marine arrives to join the fight. Jaedong loses 2 drones, and the bunker is complete, but the 2 Marines are stuck on the ramp behind the drones. But this is disastrous for Jaedong. He's losing too much of his economy. Another the drone goes down. He's lost 3 of his drones, and one of the Marines is now in the bunker. And usually if that bunker is complete before that hatchery is finished, it spells chaos, and Jaedong has lost about 5 drones. This has to be Casey's game. Casey with the rush, Casey with the bunker rush, has completely caught Jaedong off guard by surprise, and Jaedong is going to really struggle in this game now. Jaedong's got a group of Zerglings out though, and that bunker is not going to be defended, so Jaedong is actually going to be able to defend this successfully, but I think his economy has taken too much of a hit. He lost 5 drones to that rush by Casey, and Casey's got the factory built up. Jaedong needs to get a Sunken down because those vultures are going to come in, and this might be the only kind of gamble by Casey here, because even though he went in with a rush and Jaedong is down to about 3 or 4 drones in his main, Casey trying to take another of Jaedong's drones out with the SCV. Jaedong bringing the Zergling back to defend it, but I'm sure Jaedong saw that factory building in Casey's base. Casey's actually gone. Shocking play by Casey. He's actually gone for the I thought he went for the machine shop straight away, but he's actually decided to produce a vulture first. But Jaedong doing exactly what he needed to do, putting that Sunken down, and that's going to block that vulture. He needs to make sure that vulture doesn't get through, otherwise he's going to be in huge trouble. He'll need to rebuild his economy. He's got about 10 drones, so even though he lost about 5 drones, he's not going to be worried too much about that. The machine shop going down for Casey, but that's not going to bother Jaedong too much, because Casey at this stage probably needed a couple more vultures, but Casey's not going to be able to get that vulture through. He's just trying to pick off these Zerglings, preventing, and that Vulture is doing a great job of basically preventing Jaedong from getting any sort of counter going here. Casey, remember, his economy is untouched, and personally, I felt that Casey's rush would have had more chance of success had he decided to build a 2nd proxy racks after his first one, and send another SCV down to pull the racks. So the Vulture takes out most of Jaedong's Zerglings. He's got a 2nd Vulture coming out now. He's probably researching spider mines at the machine shop. He's getting his engineering bay up as well, probably to get those upgrades up, because I don't think he's going to anticipate any sort of Mutalisk harass from Jaedong early on in this game. But meanwhile, Jaedong has been mining gas. So Jaedong's starting to tech to lair. He's got the one sunken up. He's concentrating his economy. He's got no ground units. I think it's a little bit risky. I think he probably should have at least a couple of Zerglings in there, and Jaedong's now building the hard list. And I think Jaedong might be in trouble here if those vultures sneak through. Jaedong's going to be in huge trouble. He's only built a single sunken, and I'm not sure if that one sunken will be able to hold Casey. If Casey just rushes through with the 3 vultures, Jaedong's got nothing to defend against, and I think Jaedong might be taking a little bit of a risk again here, not putting anything on his ramp, just in case those vultures try to run up there. And now it looks like Casey's going to do exactly that. And I think Jaedong is going to be finished here, folks. Jaedong bringing a drone in to try and block off those vultures. He's not going to be able to block those vultures off. One of the vultures gets taken out, but the others get into Jaedong's main, and Jaedong's in huge trouble now. Those vultures are going to be able to do significant damage to Jaedong's economy, and Jaedong's forced to fight vultures with drones, and this is ridiculous. I think Jaedong should pull those drones back, leave his main for now, and he's unnecessarily sacrificed 3 drones. He should have pulled those drones back straight to the line of his sunkens and waited for the hard list to come through and take out those vultures. And Jaedong has lost about 4 or 5 drones in the process, and I think that's going to be the final nail in Jaedong's coffin. I think Casey is definitely going to take this victory. Shocking to see Jaedong go down here, caught off guard by Casey's rush strategy. You've got to give all credit to Casey for his audacity and for committing himself the way he did. I personally thought that he should have put a second rack down, but obviously he decided to follow up. And he's got spider mines down as well. Jaedong doesn't have any... And the spider mine actually takes out all of Jaedong's larvae. I'm not sure what was building those larvae, but Jaedong's lost whatever it was. Casey's meanwhile powering ahead with his economy. He's got his academy up. He's got a couple more barracks up. Jaedong's economy is in tatters. He doesn't have nearly enough sunkens, and I think he's managed to get rid of those vultures finally, but Jaedong is in huge trouble here. I think he's got his lair up, so he should be able to get lurker tech, and that's probably going to help him hold off his opponent a little bit. He has got that expansion going, so that's the other thing that might allow him to try and fight a way back into this game. But personally, I think it's going to be extremely difficult. Casey with the factory in the machine shop, he's got 3 racks up. Jaedong has got about 7 drones, 8 drones in total. Okay, sorry, he's got about 13 drones. I didn't count on the ones in his... I didn't think he had many left in his natural expo. So he's got a decent economy, but it's really a lot lower than it could have been. He lost about 4 drones at least to the initial marine rush, and then he lost another 5 drones carelessly, horribly carelessly. He had to, once he saw the vulture, he had to make sure that he was not going to allow Casey to get up that ramp. He had to have at least 2 Zerglings sitting on that ramp to block those vultures, and Casey did the exact right thing. He had 3 vultures. He lost 1 on the way in, but then was able to get through. So Jaedong's now building an evolution chamber, but he hasn't got any lurkers as of yet. He just didn't have the economy for it. He's mining the gas now as well, and I'm just not sure what Jaedong can do to fight a way back in this game. Casey once again coming forth with the vultures, manages to pick off 1 or 2 drones, losing one of the vultures in the process, and Jaedong completely pinned back in his base, and he's been completely outplayed here by Casey, and there's little he can do because that medic and marine group is ready to move out. There's a siege tank that's going to accompany it as well. Jaedong nowhere near getting Mutilist or anything of the sort. He doesn't have the resources to build a sunken line. His only hope is that maybe he can get a couple of lurkers there to slow his enemy's advance. But even with the lurkers, he's not really going to be able to slow Casey down that much. And he still hasn't been able to start even morphing to lurkers just yet. He's putting those hard lists on the bridges leading into his natural expo, hoping to perhaps morph into lurkers there. And Jaedong is now building a 3rd hatchery in his main, so he is morphing them to lurkers there, hopefully trying to block off the advance of Casey's ground units, but this might actually backfire on Jaedong. If Casey pushes far enough ahead, he might be able to catch those lurkers as they pop out. Casey's got a comsat up as well, I think. So Jaedong, I just think this game is curtains for Jaedong. He's going to have to fight his way through the ODT, and wouldn't it be shocking if he wouldn't even qualify this time? I think Jaedong probably thinking, oh, and Jaedong's managed to get those lurkers up in time. Casey not pushing forward. He's got those lurkers down. Casey, I think, does have comsat, but he doesn't obviously have a science vessel. So Casey looks like he's trying to circumvent. I think he anticipates that Jaedong would have those lurkers. He saw those hydrolists, so he's anticipating that Jaedong's going to have the lurkers, so he's going to try and come by circuitous loop. Jaedong's got those lurkers on stop mode. Those vultures are going to get through again. This is ridiculous play by Jaedong. He's allowing those vultures through yet again, not putting up a single more sunken up there, and allowing those vultures through into his main. And Casey's obviously going to be able to micro those vultures well. And that vulture actually gets trapped, and he only kills 1 drone. So that's actually a pretty decent exchange for Jaedong. He only lost 1 drone to Jaedong's attack there. I thought he would have lost more. Casey, meanwhile, is coming down around the side. And again, I'm not 100% sure of the layout of this map, but I think Casey would be able to push straight ahead to Jaedong's main. And it looks like Casey might actually be able to push from this side, from the south of the map. Jaedong has his lurkers obviously pushing to the north of the map, and Casey might be able to set up a siege above Jaedong's base here. Jaedong's unboring those lurkers. Looks like Jaedong's going to try and commit himself to some sort of a counter attack with those lurkers. lurkers and zerglies, and Casey is indeed burrowed up above the ramp above. This looks like a ridiculously unbalanced map, folks. That position where the Terran player can siege from above the hilltop at the Zerg's natural expo, which does not have a gas. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe that such a map has been included in the OSL. That being said, I think the result of this game was a foregone conclusion regardless of the balance or imbalance of the map. I think Casey has earned a deserved victory here, but I think the fact of the matter is, and Jaedong unable to do anything to Casey's forces, but I think the fact of the matter is that this map is almost reminiscent to me of Monty Hall in terms of the ridiculous balance issues it has for Zerg players. So Jaedong in a huge amount of trouble here, and Casey's just going to waltz in and finish this. So I'm going to actually end this commentary a few minutes early to try and fit this into a single video file and avoid having to split it. This is GG. Okay, I thought it would have to take a little bit longer, but that was GG. Casey triumphant on the day. Good play by him. Jaedong not really getting a chance to show what he's got, and I'm severely worried about the nature of this map, guys. I'm not looking forward to too many StarCraft games on this map between Zerg and Terran players, or indeed between Protoss and Terran. But this is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that game. Casey winning in some style.